Okay, we're up to Lamed Gimel Lamed Beis, and we did halacha of
It's starting.
Lulav Gazel. Then a Lulav, a Gazel was stolen, a Das was stolen. Puzzle because what? You need lachem, you need lachem, it's not lachem. Second day is yontif, puzzle mitzvah b'avera. Yavish is puzzle because of other. We make a hekish to what? To esrig. And today we're going to go ahead and learn about the arava. So Lamed Gimel Lamed Beis, right? Arava Gezula. You have a rava that is stolen via vesha, or it's what? It's dried out. Then psula. It is what? It is puzzle. It's puzzle. Yeah. So Gezula is puzzle because you need lachem. And Yevesha is puzzle because why? Because Yevesha is puzzle because you need what? Hadar. Okay. Shel Ashera, an arava of an Ashera, Shel Nidachas is psula. What's the reason? Because it's Katute Michtash Yura, you're missing the shear. Right. You're missing the shear. We said that it's going to be burnt. Nektam Roishai, if the top of the arava is lopped off, Nifritzu Aleha, or its leaves are fallen off. The hatzafsafa is a type of arava, however, it's oval, and we'll see for different reasons it's not acceptable. Then psula, kemusha, if it's partially dried out, ushinashu mixas or part of its leaves fall off, ushel bal, or it's not from arvei nachal, it's not near a brook, not near a stream. It is what from a field. It is kshera. It is what it would be kosher. Now, interesting Rashi over here. 5 lines in the bottom. Last 3 words on the line. Last 2 words on the line. And that we go ahead and we made in the Mishnah 4 separate cases. Betani lulav b'nei nafshe, das b'apei nafshe, b'chein arava, b'chein esrig, irva betani lahu. In other words, it's a big guys. It's repetitious, right? You could have said lulav, hadasim, aravos, esrig, gazula, pasul, yevashim, pasul, right? So why are we breaking up into 4 separate mishnayos? The 4 minim basically tell us the same dinim, right? That's the kasha. And that Rashi answers, mishum diyesh b'chol echad mashem mechaver. There's something unique by each individual one, but you don't find by the other. Dealer, for example, by lulav, we find sini harabarzel, like shaykh el belulav, that the one that came from either the leaves that just partially went up, or they came out from the palm trees which were in the valley of Hinnom, of Anova Meruba, may all have more berries than leaves, unique to Adasim, like Shaykh el Badas, fits Safsafa, and this din of Tzatzva that we just introduced here by Rava, like Shaykh el Barava. The Arla Utrum, like Shaykh el Esrik, because it's the only one that's a fruit. Hilkach, it's Tzrichuli, Board Bobby, you need 4 separate cases for each unique Chiddush Vat by each one. Okay, that's the Tanabanan. Arvei Nochal, again, just to reiterate the same thing, it doesn't say in the Torah, thou shalt take a lulav and a daresig and myrtles and aravos, right? Aravos in English? Willows? No, it says Arvei Nochal. What is that? What is that? Okay, so now, Arvei Nochal, hagedilim ala nachal, that they grow by the nachal, they grow by a brook, they grow by a river, or some type of water source. Davar acher, Arvei Nochal, its leaf, mashach is drawn kenachal. It's like you will know what a rava looks like. It looks like it's long, it's elongated. Tanya idach, arvei nachal, only ella arvei nachal. That I would think only those that grow by a stream. Shel baal, one that grows in a field, the shel harim, or by a mountain minayin. How do you know they're acceptable? And a rava that grows by a mountain, tamad leima, arvei nachal b'chol makam. It says arvei. Arvei is lashon rabim. In other words, you're not limited to one unique type of arava. There are other aravas as well. So the aravas that come from a nachal, come from a valley, come from a mountains. It's okay. Okay, come on. Mansi aravas. Yeah.
Aravas that aren't good?
Yes, there are aravas not good.
I mean, you just don't say Arvanachal and wherever they grow.
You can see aravas that are not good. Abishol Oimer, Arvei Yishtayim. He says Arvei means 2. Achas lelulav, the achas lemikdash. Now we commemorate on Hoshana Rabbah. We're going to see at the end of the Masechta, they would take these huge aravos, stand them up on the side of the Mizbeach, and they'd walk around the Mizbeach, and they what. And they would walk around the mizbeach, right? That's what they did. So where do you know that from? That's Avishol says, from the pasuk. Arvei Nachal. There's two halachas of Aravis. There's a Rava that goes in the lulav, and there's a Rava mitzvah, which we're going to see, which we clap on a Shana Rabbah. So that's what Arvei Nachal stands for. Rabbanon, Lemigdash Minalahu, the Rabbanon that say Arvei Nachal to include many different types, guys, of Aravos. Minalahu, Hilchas Gemiru, it's a Lachal Moshe Misinai. It's a Lachal Moshe Misinai. So it's very interesting to note, right? It's very interesting to note, like Abishol, the Aravis of a Harim would not be acceptable. They don't have, since they use the Arve to teach me another halacha. They use the Arve to teach me the halacha of the Arve on Shana Rabbah. Since he uses it for that, then he doesn't have the niyut of Arve Harim. In other words, like him in a Chanami, you'd be limited to Arve Nachal. You won't be able to use Aravis from Ansi unless they're by Nachal, right? Because again, he's using it for a whole separate limud. This is such a diak. Okay. So there's a long Rashi about this. If you want to see it, you can see it yourselves. Basically, it's a din of like Taisef Shmita with a configuration of trees. Arava, the din of Arava, which we just discussed, Nisach Hamayim, and the gießing of water, that usually only wine went on the Mizbech as libation, but during the Sichas space of Shoeva, you would go ahead and pour Mayim. Those are all Lachal Moshe Misinai. Okay, fascinating Rashi over here, just as a sidebar. Says Rashi, Esten Etias Arava, Nisach Hamayim, Lachal Moshe Misinai. In other words, why don't you just say Arav is a Lachal Moshe Misinai? Why do you bring in Esten Etias and Nisach Hamayim? We're not discussing that, right? Also, I'll ask you, earlier in the Masechta, when we said that the Allah Moshe Misinai was the din of Mechitza. So we brought in what? We brought in Chatzitza, right? We brought in Chatzitza, and we brought in, how about the other one? And there was one more, Shiurim, right? So we were discussing Shiurim, or we started Mechitza, like we went only Mechitza. Why did you bring in the other two, right? So look at Rashi, fascinating. Esther Tias Arav Nisach Hamayim Allah Moshe Misinai, Elu Shloisha Nishlu Beis Medrash. These three were asked, how do you know in the Torah where they are? They shivu, and the answer was Shalach Moshe Misinai. V'shama Hashemeya, v'garsem kesei d'sheshama. The one who heard it wrote it down the way he heard it. V'chein shiurim v'chatzitzim v'chatzitzin. Shama Hashemeya v'sidron kesei d'sheshama v'chein b'chol makom. Anytime these things come linked together, it's because they were asked in the Beis Medrash at the same time. Guys, they happened to be asked the Beis Medrash at the same time. And again, it was a Torah Shabbat Pes, so to memorize them, they probably just kept them together. That's why, just as a mnemonic, that's the way it was learned, right? The way it was learned, these three together, so therefore it was put together. That's the reason why they come all the time. Interesting. Okay, getting back to the din of our rabbis, Tanrabanan, Arvei Nachal, Hagdilos ala Nachal, they grow by the Nachal, Pratlit Saftzifa, right? That would exclude a Saftzifa. Saftzifa, again, is some type of ogle. It's ogle, it's round. We're going to see it in the Mishnah. We'll go back to the Mishnah, guys, actually. The Mishnah on our Amid Beis, go back, Saftzifa, the second line, where after it says Mishnah. Mina Rava, it's a type of willow, the Olashalog ogle, but its leaf is not elongated like a nachal, its leaf is round. Kidamin lekamad, as we're going to say, pasale mikra, it's pasal from the pasuk. Right? Yeah, you have it. It's pasal from the pasuk, right? So Ave Nachal, like Dila Nachal, Pratlit Safsa, which obviously does not grow by a stream. Higdila Ben Aharim, Pratlit Safsa, which grows what? Higdila Ben Aharim, which grows by the mountain. Amrav Zera, Micro, what's the pasuk? Koch al Mayim Rabim, Saftzifa Samoy. So Kodesh Baruch Hu is basically saying that you could have been a player. You could have been guys like the Arava that goes by Mayim Rabim, but you made yourself what into a Saftzifa. So you see the pasuk in Yecheskel is excluding what? Saftzifa from being an Arava. Guys, again, the Lashon, Koch al Mayim Rabim, you could have been al Mayim Rabim, which is an Arava. However, it's Saftzifa somewhere. You place yourself what as a Saftzifa. So clearly the pasuk at Saftzifa is not like, because if it's the same as Arava, what's the pasuk mean? Maybe the pasuk is explaining. Maybe it's coming to explain the following. When it says Koch al Mayim Rabim Saftzifa, what it means is what is the one that grows by Mayim Rabim? That is the Saftzifa. Maybe that is the Saftzifa. It says, hey, my summer. What do you mean you place yourself as? I said the Bnei Yisrael should be like the Arava that's cooked by the water. Rabim Arava. That's an Arava. However, they made themselves like the tzapsas of Shebaharim, obviously inferior, and now we're inferring not kosher for the Daled Mina. They learned it the same dialogue, but they learned it on the Mishnah. Okay, it's a question, not a Abaye asking, but a Zeri asking. And therefore it's not, it would be kosher. And Cain, my son, are the same parents. Exact same. What's a Rav and what's a tzaftzfa? A Rav is kana shela adon. Kana loy is red. Now it's not red, it's just that brownish color. You know, like red. Sometimes you do get very red. If you have you get the stems, the connection of the leaf, it can be very red. Sometimes just basically it's the brownish in color, or it can be green. Green is before it turns red, as opposed to white. If it's white, it's no good. Okay, so it has to be the kana, its stem has to be red. The olah shala moshach, and the olah and its length. The leaf is long, upia, and its tip, the edges of the leaf is cholak. They're smooth. Saftzafa, kana shala lavan, its stem is white. The olah shala agul, and its configuration is round. Upia doimil lamagal, and its edges are similar to a magal. Now Rashi explains the difference between a magal and a saw. A magal, all the teeth go in the same direction. A saw, they go in different directions. So, and this is like a sickle. So therefore, it's white, round, and its edges are not smooth. Good. For Tanya doima lamagal kasha, we learn regarding something else, as we're going to see, lamagal is kasha. Doimel lemasar, but similar to a masar, to a saw would be puzzle. Again, guys, the difference: a sickle, they go in the same direction. A saw, they go in different directions. Rabbi kitanya he, that if it's like a sickle, that it's kasha, is bechilfa gila. It's by a willow of gila. Not right. Hey, listen, everyone's got to make it right. The chilfa gilas. Chilfa means a willow, and arava, that's gila. Amra Abaye shmamina, hay chilfa gila kasha leishana. This chilfa gila is kasha leishana. Says Rabbi Pshita. Mao de tema hoyel ve'isle shem lavoy. I might think it has a surname, leiniskasha kamash malan. We just had this Gemara the other day. We just had this Gemara the other day. We said that you might think that the Hadass had a surname, therefore it what? And we answered that, you know what? Anafet Zavos. Again, when is a surname a problem is when the Torah says specifically, Marar, take Marar. So Marar the Agma's got a surname. We had to answer up. Why is it Kasha? It's Marar, that comes from a swamp. But once there's no Hakpad in the Torah, we don't know exactly what it is. A surname's not a problem. So the Gemara is asking, Pshita that a Chilfa Gila is Kasha. Why would you think that? It doesn't make any sense to think that, right? Mm-hmm. Look at the top places on Lamed Gimel Lamed Aleph. We did it yesterday. The Ema Hachanami, Tema, says Taisus, Maisal Gedaitef Nisle. Why would you think it's puzzle, right? Mishum Shem Levoy. Midi Hadas Ksiv Bekra. It doesn't say what Gadas. We said, Afilu Hirduf Machshirin. Hirduf would be okay. Hirduf checked off the boxes. Hirduf was covered, the leaves covered the eights. And Hirduf was braided. The only reason Hirduf wasn't good was it was poisonous, or because its leaves was not the Recheret Achinayam. But you see that so the Taisus bleibt schwer, the same thing over here. Why would you think otherwise? But they ask us a question. Why would you think that a chilfa gila is not? Shmamina, hay chilfa gila kashla shanta back in the Gemara. Pshita ma de tema hayol visla shem lavoy. It's called gila. Leinis kasha kamashalan. Frag the Gemara name hachanami. And for the Gemara, Arvei Nachal Machman, we call Machman any type of. It doesn't say where this is. Arvei Nachal, it should be right. Now the truth is, guys, Arvei Nachal is the closest to a definition, right? Creates hadar, fruit, right? Anafetz avos. No, doesn't. We fit in Hadas, right? But Arve Nochal, Epis Arve is pretty much says that the word Arava, right? So it's pretty much it's closest. Amrav Chista, said Chista. Hani Tlas Mili, these three things, Ishtani Shmayu, Mechichar Beis Hamikdash. These three things, when the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, its name was changed. These three things, when the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, its name was changed. Chilfasa Arafta Chilfasa. Before the Churban Bayis, Chilfasa was an Arava. After the Churban Bayis, an Arava was a Chalafta. My Nafkamina, the Lulav. So in other words, guys, after the Churban Bayis, you should call by a Chalafta or a Chilfasa, right? You shouldn't by a Arava. Shipoira, a Shaifer, Chatzotzarta, was called Chatzaitzros. Chatzotzarta, Shipura. My nafkamina, the Shaifer Shel Rosh Hashanah. That Shaifer Shel Rosh Hashanah is Chatzaitzros. Now, it's very interesting. There's two types of Chatzaitzros, right? The Chatzaitzros we speak about in the Beis Hamikdash, fellas, was made of kesef, right? It was made of silver. Over here, you see the Chatzaitzros was an animal, or else it wouldn't be kosher. So they say that there was Chatzaitzros in the Beis Hamikdash. The Tosfos in Menachos says that the ones that the Kahana blew were of kesef. The ones that the Levium blew, those were of animals. Animals, yeah. And that was called Chatzaitzros. And yeah, but afterwards, what we call the Shayv is called Chatzaitzros. So my nafmila Shayv Shel Rosh Hashanah. Pisurta Pisaira. These are different table sizes, and they call Pisaira Pisurta. My nafkamina L'mekach Hamemka. Like if you buy a psarta, right, you can expect to get what used to be called a psaira, vice versa. Amra by Afani, I'll tell you the following: Bekise huvlila bekise. Now, there's 4 stomachs to a cow. Guys, do you know the cow has 4 stomachs? Well, you do now, right? Do you know their names? Well, I might remember them, right? There is the hemsis, there's the Beis HaKoisis, let me go in order. There's the keres, there's the Beis HaKoisis, there's the hemsis, and there's the keva. What? Those are the 4. Do you wonder how it works? I'll save you that. But there's the Beis HaKoisis is called Beis HaKoisis because the inside of it has like, you ever see like the sucking things of an octopus? I think you have a picture. Look in the picture book. They have a picture. Call it out, Benji.
Page 118. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Page 118 picture.
118 picture.
444. 444.
Yeah, that little white thing. You see those cups there? That's the Beis HaKoisis. Now, the hulilta, the chavilta, is the hemsis. If you find a needle, guys, if you find a needle in the Beis HaKoisis in a certain area, it's not a treifa because it's thick enough to cover it up. If you find it in the hemsis spot, it's a treifa. So if you call the Beis HaKoisis, if you afterwards you call it the chovlila, then it's okay, but vice versa. Says the Gemara. So says the Baya, afani oime base kose chovlilta. They used to call Beis HaKoisis a flilta, and a flilta is beis kose. My nafkaminal is the machet to a needle hanimsa ba'oive Beis HaKoisis. It's found in the Beis HaKoisis. After the Churban Bayis, it's found in the Oive Halulta. Amar Rav Bar Yosef Afani Omer. I'll also throw my name into the ring. Bavel Bursif Bavel. L'may nafkamina. What's the nafkamina? Is Lekite Nashim. Okay, now, if I ask, everyone knows the first spot of every Masechta, right? Because that was the first day of this man you're going to learn. It's going to be different this year. And maybe give me the same Tzarech Sheyomar. There you get right. Afa maybe minha. Reckon minha. Afilu. Le. Oh, right. Maybe get me bubble. Ain't it Tzarech Sheyomar funny nechem, right? Because the Bnei Bavel guys who became again either became in the Shema or because Sheras Mitzum L'Kaimai. I already got to that phase that year. It was a good year. So it's a good year. So, right. And anyway, so but the town of Bursif, you had to say B'fani Nechtam. So now, I maybe let from Bavel after Churban Bayis, you'd have to say B'fani Nechtam. I gave you maybe get me Bursif, you wouldn't have to. Right? So that's the long Rashi's over here. I just saved you a lot of time. And okay, but just very, the digressions of the Gemara are so wonderful, but they do lead to being a little ADD, right? Because you're trying to focus on one thing and okay. Anyway, says the Mishnah. We take what, guys? We take 3 hadassim, 1 lulav, 1 esrig, and 2, right? How do you know that? What does it say in the Torah? Right? Pri etz hadar, kapis tamarim, anaf etz avos, v'avinachal. So we're going to see it's machlekes. And we're going to see that we do is because of hidur. That we do is because of hidur. I'm going to share with you some interesting stuff. Says the Mishnah, Rabbi Shmuel Loimer, Shloisha Hadasim, there are 3 Hadasim, Ushtei Aravos, and 2 Aravos, Lulav Echad and 1 Lulav. That's pretty much what we do, V'esrig Echad. That's pretty much what we do. Now, Afilu Shtayim Ketumim, even if 2 of the Hadasim are clipped, the Echad ain't a Katam, and 1 is not clipped. Now, the Gemara is going to ask the obvious question. If clipped are good, why do you need 1 that's not clipped? And if clipped is no good, what does 2 help you? That was to help you. So the Gemara is going to address that. Even if 3 are clipped, it's good. Even. So Nektam Roisha. So you want to say Nektam Roisha is not good? Here we're disagreeing. This Mishnah is disagreeing, right? This Mishnah is disagreeing. You're right. It's a very good point. Maybe I'm going to be in the halacha. We'll have a few minutes. I'll go through the halacha with you. Primarily, guys, the heter of a hadas that is clipped at the top, that it's good, is because it's covered up. Since you have the 3 leaves going up and covering it, you don't see it. So it's not a chesaron. It's not a chesaron. Masha'en came, any of the other things, the clip, you see it. Rabbi Kiva says, "Kashem shelulav echad ve'esrig echad." Just like there's 1 lulav and 1 esrig, kach hadas echad v'arba achad. So we have 3 different shittas, and the one we don't understand the most is Rabbi Yishmael, because Rabbi Yishmael throws in a curveball. He makes the schilik one with 2 clipped and 1 unclipped. Tanya, Rabbi Yishmael Leimer, pri eitz hadar, echad, pri eitz is echad 1, mashma 1. Kapois tamarim echad. Kapois is written chasa, guys. Kapois is written chasa. You're missing the vav. Since you're missing the vav, kapois tamarim is echad. So far I have 1 esrig and 1 lulav. Anaf eitz avos, 3 words. Shleisha, right? 3 words is shleisha. Arvei nochal, arvei is shtayim. Vafilu shnayim. So now that's where you know. Vafilu shnayim ketumim v'echad she'ein katam. That's Rabbi Yishmael. And Rabbi Tarfon Aimer shleisha. Vafilu shlashna ketumim. Rabbi Kiva Aimer kashem shalul v'echad v'esug echad kachadas echad v'ervach. So we'll get some price elaborating. Amar, take out the word Amalai. Rabbi Eliezer, because Rabbi Eliezer is not speaking to anybody. Rabbi Eliezer Amar, Yachal, I might think a esrog imahem ba'aguda achas. I might think the esrog has to be together. That you have to. Rashi says bind it together in the Haishanta. Amit chi noima pri eitz hada v'kapais tamarim. V'loy nemar elakapais. Guys, go with the pasuk. V'lakachtem lachem yam rishayin pri eitz hada kapais tamarim ve'anaf eitz avos v'arvei nachal. So the vav goes ahead and connects it all to the lulav. Kapis tamarim ve'anaf eitz avos v'arvei nachal. But it doesn't say what by the. It doesn't say by the kapis tamarim that you should connect it what to the esrog. Uminayin shem akvin says, how do you know that what it's ma'akiv that you need all 4? Talmud Leimer the lekach tem, and we guys we lekach tom. That you need a lekicha tama. You need a lekicha that's what totally has 1. Should they lekicha tama? The lekicha should be tama. It should be shlema. The lekach, take out the word lekach them and make 2 words out of it. Lekach tom, lechasav tom, like ksiva tama. Like that's what we learn in Menachos. Rabbi Shmuel Manashach. Now Rabbi Shmuel got a kasha, guys. Obvious question. Manashach. Ish shleimim boy. If he needs shleimim, the boy nami kula. You need all 3. Eloi boy shleimim. I feel chad nami loy. So what's this 2 clipped, 1 not clipped? So Oma Bira, with the second time we've had Bira. Oma Bira, Amrav Ami. Chazar Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel at Charata. Says Rashi, Rabbi Shmuel the machshe shnayim ketumim v'chad matzuch shalem heichen cholkon hakosev iboy hada. So he says He had charata chazar by Rabbi Shmuel. Mitchilas devarav umachshe bechad umiu hadaboy. So what is it? So he's machshe bechad, but you need hadar. So one should be good, and the other two are there just for hadar. In other words, the number 3 is not me'etzem adin. The number 3 is a din in hidur. That we take 3 aravos, guys, is a din in hidur. Really, you only need one. Really, you only need one. Right? And in fact, we're going to see 3 can be ketumim. According to Rabbi Shmuel, you only need one. Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Allah Reb Tarfin. The halacha is like Reb Tarfin. That what? That you don't even need what? Katam. You don't even need that. It could even be what? Now you need 3. But Rabbi Tarfin says 3. Shlashlan ketumim. I feel shlashlan ketumim would be good. Allah is like that. He asked the Shmuel Tamei, Damalu Shmuel, Lahanu the Mizavna Asa. He said to these people who were selling these myrtle guys, the Muncie guys, Ashva, go ahead. Actually, the truth is, Asa is the Hadassim, not the Muncie guys. Ashva, sell it for an equal price. Ashva v'zvina, v'iloi, and if you don't, dashinan l'chu kereb tarfin. In other words, you know what he's going to do? He's going to control the market. We had this by Rabbi Gamliel regarding the birds, the people. They were overcharging later for the birds, and he racked the market. Yeah, okay. Anyway, man, you're good. Not bad for a young guy. He didn't hear. In my time, if you want to be the most cool at the Geshita, l'chara guys, who's the most cool at the Geshita? Rabbi Kiva. No, Rabbi Kiva said 1, right? So you want to knock them down, go and say the lachas like Rabbi Akiva. The make out fei. Right? Says the Gemara, and for the Gemara, so why do you say like Rabbi Tarfin? Guys, tilsa ketume shchichi, 3 clipped ashriach. Chad v'loy katam loy shchichi. But 1 v'loy katam is not shchich. Okay, I'm just gonna. Mendy asked a good question. I thought nektam roishay by that. The dinu hadasim yud al sifim. Hadash nektam roishay is kasha. Mechaber guys. Hadash nektam roishay is kasha. That's tafresh memvav sif aleph. Hadass that the roishay is cut off is kasha. Okay. Now, however, in yud, somebody says in yud, nektam roishay kasha. Tomorrow, even if it doesn't grow that berry on the top, even if it goes dry at the top. There are those who passel guys by nektar roishay. There are those who say nektar roishay is passel. No, it's passel. Right? Guys, nektar does not mean the leaves. Nektar means what if it's missing. The Ravid has a shita over here, very, very chumitic shita, very chiddushtik shita. He wants to hold that it's not a machlokes bemes. He wants, because you have a bemes, you have a stira. You have the first Mishnah saying nektam roish is pasul, and then you say the lachas like Rav Tarfon, and nektam roish is okay. So if you look at the book, if you look in the book, he brings the shita of the Ravid. You don't know what you're looking at, guys. It's the top. It's page 119. Let me show them. 119 over here. 119 over here. And you see he has a thing over here. He's cutting it off. He holds that shalosh. Rav Tarfon says that if you cut these things, the stems, the bottom on the bottom, he says it grows with bottom growing up. It's not speaking about the top. If the top is cut off, it's puzzle. He's saying nektam moshe, of those bottom coming out of the sides, then it's kasha. So that's when it says over here, it brings down, it looks over here. V'yesh poislim b'nektam roishay, and the tzaddik, the Beragola says that's the shitas of the Ravid. The halacha is fascinating because the Rambam, just the lashon of the Rambam. So again, we have this, according to Pashut Pshat, you have the Gemara having charata from the nektam roishay of the previous Mishnah of Dadas saying it's pasul. Passing the Reb Tarfon, the nektam roishay is okay. We have the Ravid. Where does the Ravid come from? His lashon is Peladik. It's the Rambam. Hilchas Lulav Periches Halacha Hey. Hadash Nektam Roishay Kasha. The Rambam paskins like just openly. Hadash Nektam Roishay, and that's the way the Mechaber paskin in Tafrei Shem Aleph. If it's the top is cut off, the eitzim is kasha, like Reb Tarfon. The Nektam Roishay is kasha, right? says the that's the Ramban. Says the Ravid, guys, listen to this. Avram, we had an appearance of Ruach HaKodesh in our Beis Medrash. Then he says, the Ravid, Ruach HaKodesh Beis Medrashenu, Mekama Shonim, from many years, V'alinu Shehu Pasal, Kistam Mishnah Seinu. That what? That it's Pasal like a Mishnah. That it's Pasal. Not like Pashit Pshat, or that the Gemara had Charata like Rav Tarfin. And now, the Divrei Rav Tarfin, the words of Rav Tarfin, Sha'amar Afilu Shloshna Ketumim Ksherim, that's problem, that because he says Nektim is Kasha, Inyanachahu, V'losh Nektim Roshai, V'hakol Bora B'chaburenu, U'makom Inichu Loi Min HaShemayim. And what does the Rabbi say? That when he said Shloisha, it doesn't mean the top. It's those three bottom coming out of the side. So Nektim Roshim in the top, Tak is puzzle. And therefore he disagrees. And what is Shloisha Afilu Ketumim? The three things coming out of the side. So it's machloikis between the Ravid and the Rambam, and whether we're passing like the second Mishnah tonight, like Rav Tarfin, versus our previous Mishnah. And like the Ravid made Shalom, there is no machloikis because Rav Tarfin was discussing a total different part. But if the top is lopped off, then what? And the Ramah says we should be machmir. But again, there's a lot of heterim guys also. Just like Sukkah, there's a lot of heterim. What? What do you mean? That was Rabbi Shmuel. The halach is not like Rabbi Shmuel. It was like a Tarfin. So here, it's the ways to learn, and that's that picture. I'm glad you put that picture in, and that clears up. Okay, thank you for listening.
Good night.